All right, my clock says 1 minute over 2 Central European time, so let's kick off. As always, I'm your host, Henrik Thuren, and today we have a new product update. This will be the last product update for 2020. And on the agenda today, together with my nice little helper here, I'm happy to present these points. Some changes in our team, the current things that we are working on, but also what we've been doing this year. I thought that we should sum up what we have done on a high level this year. As some of you might know, we are releasing 9.1 early next year in 2021, sometime during the first quarter, Q1. So there's going to be some information about 9.1 and what that means. And then we will look at our plans for 2021 and some of the things that we have on our radar. Then I'd like to share some insights to the pre-connect sessions that we've been doing this year during the autumn. And we will end up in a Q&A session. And as always, you are, of course, free to type in questions in the GoToWebinar tool at any point in time. And I will see that when we end up in the Q&A part. So let's begin with the first point, people in our team. I'm sure that you are familiar with both these two gentlemen, but Ulf Engstrand, our long-term product manager, is back from parental leave. We are very happy to have him back with us. He's a key member of our team, and he's already starting right now, so you can reach him, and I'm sure that you will hear and see more from him moving forward. But he's been taking care of his child the last half year or so. On the right-hand side, we have Stefan Asplund, our CTO, and unfortunately, Stefan got an offer he couldn't refuse, so he's actually leaving us. And we are very sad of that, of course. But on the positive side, we will have a new member in our team, and some of you might recognize this nice-looking fellow. Ulf Lindberg. He has been working with us, I think it was up until late 2016. Ulf was responsible for sales at Netadmin, and he recently was working for Utsikt Bredband, responsible for sales and marketing, and has rejoined Netadmin, which we're all very happy for. So if you get the chance to hopefully meet him in a person soon, at least in a Teams or online session. He's going to be back soon. So he will basically take the role that Stefan had, managing the product team. All right, so let's recap our plans that we had in the beginning of 2020 and see where we ended up. So this was a slide that I presented in March in one of these sessions. And the idea was that we would develop an SDK and an API, if you want, for customer portal development. We call that the customer portals backend add-on. So that allows us or you or someone else to develop customer portals. We had in our plans to develop a new user documentation. We obviously have the site dev.netadminsystems.com, but that's more for system administrators and system developers. So we thought that it would probably be necessary for us to provide user documentation. We had a product innovation called the Network Insight Portal in the pipeline, so that was also in the plans. And the 2.4 version of the Open Network API. So we've been able to release the two first points there. We're working on the Network Insight portal, and we're also re-involved in the working group behind ONAPI 2.4, and that's something that has been accelerated. During the year, we've done a number of improvements on 9, 31 to be specific, and the majority of those has been PAFs, so improvements based on a dialogue with customers who pay us for improving certain things in the product. And you can see in the factory right now, we have the Network Insight Portal and ONAPI 2.4, but the major components that we've had in the factory during the year is obviously 9.1, and we'll get back to 9.1 later in the presentation. In the pipelines right now, we have 2 different ideas for product innovations. One is shown on the slide here, campaign management. Another one is the sort of old one. We've always got feedback from you, our customers, that you have field staff, your own field staff, and subcontractors field staff that needs to do things, and that's something we know that we might want to do. And campaign management, I've talked about that in a number of previous product updates, so I will not go into that, but that's also in the plans, in the backlog. There's a couple of product advancement also, 2 paths and a change request, and I won't have time to go into the details of exactly what those are. So let's look a little bit at 9.1. For those of you who have been to the pre-connect R&D update session, this is going to be slightly a repetition, but we thought that it might be a good idea to reiterate the 9.1 release, what it means, and what you can benefit from it. So quickly, the background between 9.1 is that we know that we need to strengthen the BSS part of Netadmin, so increased focus on order management and managing the products in the product catalog. Improving the support for what we call the customer journey, which is essentially just a way to look at your business from a customer perspective, onboarding customers. Reduce the need of having a separate customer relationship management system. That's something that we don't believe that our customers need to spend too much money on. Usability improvements for increased productivity. I've included a video in this presentation where we will look at these improvements. You will see yourself what it is. And in line with our new release policy, utilize new OS and DB platform versions. And that brings us to the release policy. So we basically do 2 different kinds of releases. Small maintenance releases on a monthly basis that improves Netadmin gradually, fixes bugs, but also enhances it with new features. And that's related to our Software for Life promise. Our idea is that you should be able to use Netadmin for life, so we need to continuously improve it in terms of performance and using the latest platforms. The second type of release that we do are major releases, so that's 9.0, 9.0, and now 9.1. And that's something we've done obviously in the past, but now what we've changed is that we align the frequency of releasing those major releases with the release frequency of underlying OS and DB platforms. So that's in practice Windows Server and Linux Ubuntu and MySQL. So we try to sort of find when there's recently been a new version of Windows Server and Linux Ubuntu and MySQL, we try to time our release with that so that we can utilize all those nice new features that comes with those new OS and DB platform releases. We don't dictate the release frequency of Windows Server, but our ambition is to have a new major release every second year, roughly. So that's the idea. And for 9.1, which specific platforms are we talking about? Well, it's going to be Windows Server 2019, Linux Ubuntu 2004, and MySQL 8.0 with InnoDB, and Microsoft.NET Framework 4.8, and PHP 7.4. And there's a couple of things that that means, which we will look at in the coming slides here. So we included this little video here. This is from an internal acceptance testing system. So let's see if this works. Hopefully you can see this. So I'll try to explain what we see here. So obviously this is the main interface, and we see someone looking at the different menu items here. So we have changed these menu items slightly based on your feedback. We can just pause and go back here to this. Let's look at this one. So for each menu, top menu item that you click on, you have the same structure. You access tickets and the dashboard, and then you have definitions, settings, and maintenance. So we have grouped all the settings which are related to tickets in this sense here, and we have grouped all of the maintenance related things that are related to tickets under ticket maintenance. So it should be a little bit more intuitive, where you can find different things. And by the way, you can change the menu more easily here. And all of the sort of general settings are now found under this menu item system. So that's also a usability improvement that we've done. You can see we have a new area called subscription. I believe we will look at that here soon. All right, before we look at that, we something we've improved is that not all of our customers utilizes all of the fields on customers that they have in the system. So on the customer, you can actually specify exactly which fields should be hidden, shown, or available in different views here. So in ordering, in creating a customer, and editing a customer, and when you're looking at the overview of your customer. So you can basically remove all the fields which you don't use to make everything a little bit more clear, so that users don't input data into fields that they shouldn't use at all. So now we're into subscription, which is an overview of all the subscriptions that you have in the system. You can obviously filter in this view. And now we're looking at obviously the overview of a single customer, and a small improvement that we've done is that the name of the subscription can either be the name of the service, or the name of the ordered product, or the name of the delivered product. So that's an improvement that we've made, and that also reflects into what goes to the billing add-on, I believe. So you can have the product name being reflected into the chart rows. Something which is available, I believe, both on the customer overview but also on the subscription view is these quick actions. That is that it should be a little bit more simple to schedule disconnection of a service. Today, I believe you have to click on the service and you have to edit and find somewhere there's a date field where you type in a disconnection date. Now you can just do that directly here, schedule disconnection. You can deactivate the subscription, abuse block it, place a quick cease order in case you're using order management, or immediately creating a ticket. So just a little bit easier to work with. So now we're moving on to order management and a product catalog. So obviously order management and the product catalog were a huge part in 9.0, but yeah, let's begin here. So for each of the product, you can specify whether they should be orderable, not orderable, or only orderable by service providers. So in the case that you're using a hierarchy of retail service providers products and wholesale products, you can sort of specify which products actually are orderable and which product might be a part of a bundle or be a part of a structure which you don't necessarily want to allow users to order directly. Now I believe we look at the overview of the product catalog. This has been an improvement here. So if we go back a little bit here, for those of you who are familiar with the product catalog, this is what it usually looks like. It's just a list of all the products, and you can filter the list, but it doesn't really show the relationship between different products, especially if you have delegated wholesale product to a retail service provider, or you have bundled products. You can't really see that in an intuitive way, but you can now with 9.1. So here we have the structure. So in this case, we can see that we have a campaign product, which is based on this one. You can see here we have a couple of different, you can filter based on service provider, based on the category of product, based on the maximum bandwidth. You can filter if it should be based on campaign, if it should only view published products. And you can illustrate the relationship in the product catalog either top down or bottom up. So right now we're doing it bottom up. So hopefully that makes it a little bit easier to work with the product catalog and to see the different products that you have and how they relate to each other. Yeah, so let's see where we were. Yeah, I think we're done with the video. Let's move on. So 9.1 milestones. We're done with development, testing, and hardening. You can see that we actually started off in October 2019, so it's been a long time coming. We initiated acceptance tests in September this year, and we actually have a release candidate out, which a few of our customers are looking to get. But before we make 9.1 generally available, we have some work to do in terms of documentation and also in terms of install and upgrade procedures. So that's our focus right now, and we will do that in parallel with the ongoing dialogues and ongoing release candidate upgrade products that we have. Obviously we encourage everyone to contact us to see, how you could get 9.1. It's going to be a lot easier for those of you who have experienced a migration from the 8th generation, 8.7, for example, to 9.0. This is going to be a much easier step. There's not that much, we've done obviously improvements, but structurally and architecturally we haven't done things which would create a huge migration project. So the key actions when upgrading would be installing new servers due to the fact that we have new OS versions, and installing 9.1 and then migrate data from your old system to the new system. We're changing .NET Framework version, so we have to retarget and recompile assemblies and components to fit into the new version of the framework. There's a few and minor breaking changes, which are listed here. Interface and property renaming is something that needs to be done, and also review and update your ACL lists. So we will take care of that, but we want also to be transparent with the things that has changed. We recently launched a website, netadminsystems.com/9.1, with additional information about 9.1. So recommend everyone to visit that site and check it out. I believe this video that we just saw is also available there. Maybe even a better one, I think. And of course, if you're interested, talk to us, and we're happy to find a suitable time where we can present 9.1, how we could upgrade your system and what it would mean for you specifically. All right, so that was the 9.1 part. So for 2021, obviously we try to be agile, but there's a couple of things that we have in our plans. The campaign management product innovation is one. We talked about that. I don't think that we will go into details on campaign management here, but essentially the idea is that we would develop a campaign management add-on which would allow you to schedule and execute campaigns in the form of, for example, emails that are sent out to customers, or potentially other channels like direct mail advertisement or door knocking activities. That would request that the receivers of those campaign messages will go to a website where they will have to register for interest or order products and services. So in addition to that product innovation, we have two pre-studies that we are actually doing. We've already begun, but that's something we'll spend some time on for the next year. The first one is to further increase the BSS capabilities of Netadmin, and the second one is around cloud technology. You can see that there's a sort of dimmed out third one, which is around monitoring. We haven't decided to do that pre-study yet, but it's somewhere in the back of our heads that we might have to look at the monitoring part of Netadmin and see what we could do there. So the BSS pre-study has three different areas. Campaign management, that's the product innovation that we just talked about. Customer onboarding. So a lot of our customers, they need to coordinate everything from making sure that the customer has the right finances to pay for the broadband subscription, to set up direct debit mandates in the case that you use that, or set up a regular paying procedure, to schedule the visit of someone that installed the fiber and the CPE or ONT, and other things, accepting terms and conditions. And there's a number of activities that happens before Netadmin actually provisions the network devices. And this area of this pre-study is targeting the customer onboarding and order orchestration and how that can be improved. We have a history of managing wholesale businesses, but a lot of our customers are also doing retail business, supporting end consumers and customers. And there's a couple of things which we currently don't do that we need to evaluate if we should do. One of those things would be to handle non-subscription products, especially around campaigns and billing of non-subscription products. And there's a number of things here. So we would have to look at that and see what we can do. And we will for sure get back with an update on this pre-study, and probably have a dialogue with you around that. So the cloud pre-study, obviously Netadmin is mission critical software and it needs to be managed. And the general idea with cloud is to take sort of infrastructure and platform out of the question, so that you can only use the software as is and you don't have to worry about the servers and everything that goes around the software. And the pre-study intends to investigate the possibility of cloud technology. We haven't set a goal in stone, so to speak. We are interested in cloud and would like to explore the possibilities of cloud technology. So what we can do and why we should do it and how we can do it would be the three perspectives that we have. The first step that we've already taken with 9.1 is that you can now run MySQL as a service in Microsoft Azure. So that's the first small step. And we'll keep you posted with this pre-study and everything that we do here. All right, so pre-connect. I hope that at least some of you were able to join us. We did 4 webinars during the autumn of 2020. Jonas Svensson, our CEO, started off with a State of the Union speech. Representatives from our professional service team showed an example of how we work with customer portals and different alternatives there. Our customer care team explained what they can help you with and how they work. And then the R&D team gave you an update on what we do and in which direction we are taking the product. We had 66 attendees, unique attendees. So thank you everyone here who has joined and spent time listening to these webinars and provided feedback. If you didn't have the chance to join, all of those sessions are recorded and available as news items on the dev site. So just go to dev.netadminsystems.com and you should be able to find them. We hope, let's be a little bit optimistic here, that we will be able to meet you in person next year. And we hope to, this was actually the initial idea for 2020, but for obvious reasons that didn't happen. So let's hope that we can do that next year. So the idea is that in October 12th and 13th, we will do a 2-day event in Stockholm, Clarence Sign. So please write down that those dates in your calendar, and hopefully we'll be able to meet in person this time and look at what we can do and perhaps have a beer. All right, so if there are any questions, you should be able to find a question tool on the GoToWebinar app. I'll see if I can find if anyone has any questions. Doesn't look that there are any questions, but some of you are wishing a good Christmas, and I'd like to wish you all a good and safe Christmas as well, and a happy New Year. If I don't hear from you or we speak before the Christmas holidays. So yeah, it doesn't look that there's any questions. Obviously, I'm here. Just drop me an email. Have a good Christmas, everyone. Stay safe. Goodbye. This is the end of the session.